Okay, welcome back. This is Jason, co-founder of Radiant Family, and we're getting into kind of another little section here in a series of talks about the law of attraction in relationship to the Orgone generators. So before we start with this short little section, that we're going to be discussing some primary elements of the law of attraction. I'll just say that I would encourage anybody listening to go to orgonegenerator.com and read about the devices there. It really is a lot of really good information on each one of the devices, so you can really find specifically what you're looking for yourself. So today I'm going to be getting a little bit into a key factor of this law, and that is the understanding of the two primary formats or versions, if you will, of the law of attraction. So in one of the aspects of the law of attraction, you could say, is service to others, which is fundamentally looking at what is it that I'm looking for in relationship to my life's purpose. And then as we start to really connect with our higher life's purpose, we find that much of what we're looking to do is to actually serve and to be an uplifting element in the world. And then this simply bolsters more and more support and more strength to whatever it is that you're looking to achieve. Because it really is synergizing with life. It really is opening up the possibilities around you. And it's doing it in a way where you're actually going to be pulling in and gravitating more and more people into your own sphere of influence that are looking to do the same thing. The other side of it is service to self, and that is another way of looking at the law of attraction, which is just looking for novelty, looking to continue to attain and amass control, etc. And we can see that the world that we're starting to move into, the new earth that we're starting to see manifest, we're seeing the law of reciprocity is coming back much quicker, and the karmic law of, we could say, retribution, or that which we put out, if it's negative, it's coming back much quicker. So this is just one element of choice. We're choosing which side of this paradigm do we want to focus. If we're looking at co-creating with the world in a way that is sustainable, where it's simply bolstering us into higher perspectives within ourselves and starting to ignite the passion and understanding in others about their own life's purpose, then we're going to find that law of reciprocity, where we're giving, not giving just to give, but giving out of purpose, where it's a synchronistic giving, not just trying to create some sort of charity so I can feel good about myself because I believe I'm doing something for the world. Actually, this is more about an organic process where we start to let life show us. We talked about that a little bit, letting our own life's purpose be almost a surprise to us, where instead of trying to fight upstream and trying to align ourselves with the people that will give us what we want and continuing to push for what we want, see, there's so much energy is required in that. We can see that it ultimately leads to the need to be less and less honest, to be more and more secretive, more and more pushy, and more toward what we would call the side of becoming a tyrant. That's where the service to self law of attraction tends to lead. And then that ultimately leads to a more difficult path for the person who's involved, because it ultimately comes back much quicker. And we start to see that what we're doing, while we might be amassing or we might be experiencing novelties, it simply cannot be sustained. And so it's not really leaving any kind of legacy behind. It's not leaving anything behind that is actually making a fundamental difference in the world at large or our own life's purpose. You see. So, that being said, as we start to look at what are the desires that are coming up, and if we start to see that, well, the desires are self-serving, then we can see that self-serving desires ultimately are what got us into the predicament to begin with, of feeling perhaps without purpose, feeling like we need to amass more, create more, and have more control in order to say, well, I mean something to life. When in actuality, the front of looking at what is life actually speaking to me, because the whole world, if we can notice, is really crying out for help, because we are in a transition time. It's a great changeover where there's so much opportunity that is simply availing itself on a daily basis, where we don't have to get caught up in trying to micromanage saving the world. We're not trying to create some version of paradise that we have imagined. This isn't what I'm speaking of. This is actually about listening to life, and then noticing that when we start to serve that which is life itself, that reciprocity starts coming back very quickly. And that's where the law of attraction starts to become a surprise to us. Or what is being manifested, what is being co-created, starts to be a continuum that is far beyond the need to market so much or try to get the angle or the slant on things, to try to hold things together so that it can get bigger. It's more about letting those aspects of our life quietly fade into the distance that are not really serving our ultimate purpose, which is to be satisfied, in communion with our life's purpose, and ultimately at peace. And within that continuum, everything comes. Everything that we're looking for: better relationship, better finance, more abundance overall, is going to come in. Where people might get a misunderstanding about service to others is when really the service to others is coming from our own vantage point of how we want to see it unfold, and what we believe has to happen so that we can say, well, I've done my part. This really is about looking at what it is to be satisfied within ourselves first. So if we are in situations where we have to get ourselves out of a mess, or we're having challenges in life, the Orgone generators can absolutely help to seamlessly get us out of those situations, where we start to synergize with circumstances and people that are bringing us up to a higher vantage point, a higher level of seeing. We start to see the places where we've sometimes created some of these things ourselves, and we stop doing it. So we're not repeating patterns that are once again having to be cleaned up. We're not having to clean up after ourselves, because we're already seeing the places where we got stuck to begin with. And often that is when we're just looking at life from a self-serving vantage point, that the power and the majesty of the true law of attraction, it starts to get well, it starts to get dumbed down. It starts to become murky. Because when we're simply looking to serve ourselves, what happens in this is that we're attracting other people that are looking simply to serve themselves. When it's simply self-serving and we're simply wanting to attain and have more pleasure and have more novelty, then we're going to be constantly fighting people who want to take what we have. We're going to be constantly trying to, we're always having to watch our back, look at, who's my enemy, who's my friend, who do I trust, so we can bypass a lot of that, and we can start to open up panoramic views when we're looking at what is my life's purpose in relationship to the flow of life with what the world is actually asking me. What is life actually asking of me? And then that starts to become very self-obvious as we start to simplify things. So a big part of it is to take the burden off of ourselves, to start to live a life that is more fundamentally joyful. So as I'm setting trends with the Orgone generators, that sustained field of manifestive quality, it doesn't mean I can't look for creating new relationship, more productive people to work with, better career, better finance. That's all there. And it doesn't mean we can't look at those things specifically. But within that continuum, we're constantly refining our own life's purpose, our own understanding. And then it's relieving a lot of the burden from our work, from our attempt to create what we think is going to make us happy. We go there first. We start to find happiness first. And a lot of the really mega successful people have spoken about this. Why are we doing things just to try to create money, working a job that we don't really care for, hoping that we'll just be able to use some sort of a get-rich-quick scheme, instead of actually finding joy, letting our life's purpose, in other words, find us. And then within that, we start to say that, my God, what I'm doing here, because I had the courage to actually stay the course, is that my life's purpose is finding me. And within that, I'm starting to find joy in what I'm doing. So the trends we set are starting to be finding out what is in the way of actually living a life that is a joyful flow, which isn't just A leads to B leads to C. It's not monotonous. It's more of a spontaneous flow. It's a co-creative, essential relationship with life. And then we could say, now we're starting to really live. And then when we engage our work, we're engaging it with a passion. We're starting to look at our work not as just self-serving, but, my God, what am I actually doing to serve humanity? What am I doing to serve my fellow human beings? Not just to get back, but to say that I'm actually in love with life. I'm actually enjoying what I'm doing. That starts to become the law of attraction that is going to not only serve yourself, but everybody. And so we're going to be getting very soon in the next segment into exactly the process that one can use step by step to imbue this sacred quality of the law of higher reciprocity, the law of attraction, into your world, so you can see it more on an analytical viewpoint. We're going to break it down. It's going to be a really beautiful description of the how-to. So we've gotten very much into how the Orgone generators generate and co-create with you, and some of the pitfalls around the various forms of the law of attraction and what we're ultimately wanting to focus in on. And then we're going to be getting very soon into exactly what is going to be necessary to start to apply this with a methodical step-by-step purpose. Okay, so I'll just leave it at that for now. And once again, go check out orgonegenerator.com and read up on the devices. Check it out for yourself and see what resonates with you. All right. Many blessings and happiness.